During the past decade, armed groups became a key party to a large number of armed conflicts worldwide and in most of the armed conflicts in the Middle East today, which requires developing a clear, precise definition of the term armed groups.
Types of armed conflicts. Armed conflicts become classified into international armed conflicts, non-international armed conflicts, parties of international armed conflicts, persons of public international law, such as between a state and another state, a state and a group of states, or a state and an international organization. Parties of non-international armed conflicts. The non-international armed conflict is armed conflicts between states and non-state armed groups or between armed groups. Main elements in the armed group. Leadership. Control part of the territory of the state. Carry out continuous and coordinated military operations. Implement applicable provisions of international humanitarian law. Shapes of armed groups. State-affiliated militias. Established or sponsored by the state or established without interference from the state becomes loyal to it. An example: the Red Army of the Bolshevik Party in the former Soviet Union. Dissident militias from the state. These militias often arise from civil wars, revolutions, and military coups. It consists of soldiers who served in the ranks of the state and then defected to form an independent militia. An example: the Libyan Arab National Army. Non-state militias. Established without being loyal to or against the state. So, it may arise as a military wing of a political movement or a national liberation movement. An example: the Lebanese Hezbollah. Does international humanitarian law protect terrorist organizations? Treats with actors of terrorism that target civilians as prohibited and guarantees protection for civilians, whether it is an armed group or a state. Is not concerned with the actor and whether it is classified as a terrorist organization or not. Rather, it looks at the act itself, whoever committed it. Mafia may qualify as armed groups or not. If those gangs display a level of organization consistent with the relevant standards, therefore, we are faced with an armed group and a non-international armed conflict. It is sufficient it considers the armed group in the light of the previous criteria to ensure that the organization criterion is met without the need to place it under a specific form of the armed group.